One night at the dinner table years ago, I turned to Zach and I asked him, what'd you learn in school today? Well, he had just started first grade and he bursts into tears, runs away from the table into his bedroom. And I'm like, what the heck? Well, I need to preface the story by telling you that for years prior to that night, I had told the kids that the reason that my hair had fallen out on the top of my head was because I was so smart and my head had grown so much that there just wasn't enough hair to cover it. When I went back into his bedroom and found him, Zach told me that he was getting smarter too, and he was afraid he was going to lose his hair, that maybe he just didn't need to go to school anymore. I'm Pastor Dean. Thanks for joining me here at the Lakes for Good News Reflections. It is Friday, December 11th. It's a beautiful day in Wapaka. For chapter day, we're reading 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And please read the entire chapter with me. For today's reading, I've chosen verse 9 and 10. Paul writes, "But Jesus said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong.'" Even if Jesus' way involved suffering, humiliation, and weaknesses, Paul would submit. It was through Paul's weaknesses that Christ could powerfully work through him, which is the exact opposite of what the world tells us. Christ's power could be fully displayed not in Paul's strength, not in his wisdom, not in his talents, but in his weaknesses. It is only in Paul's weaknesses that Christ could rest on Paul. The fact that Christ's power is displayed in weak people gives me courage. Instead of relying on my own energy, effort, and talent, I can turn to Christ for his wisdom, for his strength. The recognition of my weaknesses assists me in developing my Christian character, and it deepens my worship as I affirm Christ's inexhaustible strength. We spend so much of our time trying to hide our own human weaknesses, when these are the very signs that we are in need of the Holy Spirit's presence and power. Bald is beautiful. Now, if you know of a famous Old Testament prophet who was bald, if you know who I'm talking about, drop his name in the comments. And I want you to know that Christ will use you in the midst of your weakness.